Hey everyone, Daniel and Chris here from IGN. Now, every editor, one by one, is picking the top 10 favourite movies. And today we reach Chris's number one, which is...
It's up there. That's my little DeLorean there. Back to the Future, of course, obviously. Why would you pick anything else?
So, Back to the Future is a movie that's appeared on my top 10 list and quite a few other people's top 10 lists.
Yeah.
What is it about Back to the Future?
Are you saying I'm unoriginal?
No. You're the only one who's dared to put it at number one.
Universally loved. I don't know what it just ticks every box for me. Like, everything works in the movie. Every aspect of the film that was made. Just watching it is so much fun. It's such a lovely, amazing story. There's not a moment in it or anything about it that I don't like, and it's something that I can come back to time and time again and see new things each time I watch it. So, I don't know, it's just been a really special film to me ever since I first watched it.
So how many times do you think you've seen it now?
I don't know, I watched it a lot when I was about 8, 9, 10. I used to watch it a lot. I don't know, maybe 100 times. Nothing crazy.
Did you see it at the cinema?
No. Do you not know the story?
Yeah, go on.
I messed up. My folks took me... So it came out in America in the summer, and it came out in England at the Christmas. And I remember there was lots of build-up all through those 5 months. It was in sort of magazines and newspapers. I can remember my nan having a cereal box with all these pictures of it on the side. And it had this weird title, and it was a Steven Spielberg film. And even at 7 years old, I knew that was something important. Even though it wasn't, he only produced it, but that's how they sold it. And so at Christmas, my folks took me to the cinema with my brother and let me pick the movie. And it was Back to the Future or Santa Claus the movie. And I picked Santa Claus the movie.
You wanted to be a festive child.
Which is conspicuous by its absence from my top 10.
Is that the Dudley Moore one?
Dudley Moore Elf. The first half is a lovely film, actually.
Yeah.
Second half's awful, but at the time I loved it, so no regrets. But the next summer it came out on video, and I rented it the day it came out, and I think I rented it for the duration of that summer. I bought a skateboard. I wanted to be Marty McFly.
How did that work out for you? You a proficient skater these days?
I broke my wrist a week later trying to copy Marty, but rather than hold onto a car, I held onto a bike and fell after about 2 feet and broke my wrist. So
that sequence is particularly iconic, and it's a film full of iconic moments. Is there one particular scene or moment that really makes goosebumps come up on your arms? Or?
Well, certainly when George punches Biff. Yeah. That's a really magical moment. But interestingly, I did a bit of research for a feature I did on IGN for Back to the Future a little while ago, and Robert Zemeckis said that maybe the best scene in it is the one he wanted to cut. He said you kind of lose perspective when you're editing a movie and you've worked on it for 2 years. And there was one scene that didn't drive the story forward in any way, shape or form, and it was 5 minutes long. And he just thought, I can cut this out and make the film tighter. And he showed it to a few other people and everyone was like, no! And it's Johnny Be Good sequence. Because it doesn't really propel the plot.
Yeah, it's quite long, yeah.
But equally, it's partly where the idea came from. Why they said it in 55 is because they wanted Marty to invent rock and roll. That was one of the ideas. But the other idea was, it was Bob Gale, the co-writer. He was at his folks' house and looking through his dad's yearbook and just saw a picture of his dad and saw that he was high school president. And when he was at school, he was saying that he hated high school student bodies and things like that. And he just kind of got to thinking, I don't think I would have gotten on with my dad if we had been at school together. And it's like, would I have been friends with my dad? Took it to Zemeckis, and next thing you know, they had this movie, and it is a brilliant premise.
Yeah.
But equally, you can't just... I mean, I've seen... There's a lot of time travel movies that have a good setup, but doesn't really pay off. And this one, it delivers on the promise of the premise, I think.
Are you a big fan of the sequels at all?
Yeah, I like the sequels. You know, I did go to see them in cinemas, and that was really exciting. It was quite unique at the time to have 2 films made back to back and then released 6 months apart. I mean, I think Back to the Future 2 is a bit of a mess, and I'm not a crazy Western fan, but they're both good movies in their own way. If 2 feels more like a joining movie than a self-contained film. And you know your movie's in trouble when a character's got to get a blackboard and some chalk and do all these drawings to explain the plot because it's gotten too complicated.
One doesn't have that, it's more elegant.
But, and the characters for me, like, Marty was the coolest kid I'd ever see when I was sort of 7 years old. I wanted to be him. But equally, to have a friend like Doc, like, it's weird when you think about it. Why is this loner scientist
and there's not even
friends
any
with a kid?
Shade of that in the movie. It's just so sincere and loving.
Yeah, it's really that bond between them. You really believe in. It's really special. And who wouldn't want a friend like Doc Brown or Marty McFly? So that's really adorable as well.
Okay.
But for me, I think as well, there's so many reasons. Like, the acting is so weird in it as well. Like, if you stop to think about Crispin Glover's performance, or Tom Wilson's performance, or Chris Lloyd's performance, they're so over the top and out there.
Blimey, yeah.
It's ridiculous, and to have 3 of them in the same movie, and yet you don't give it a second thought. Like, you believe Biff and you believe Doc and you believe George and that stupid laugh that he does. So I love that it's kind of a bit surreal almost, the way that they've been allowed to act in the film. But also the script as well. Like, my favourite films tend to be the ones that have kind of setups and payoffs, cause and effect, like stuff like The Usual Suspects or It's a Wonderful Life, or the 3 films that Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg made.
It's a whole film about cause and effect.
It is, and it's so perfectly done, but it works. Like, nothing's forced, and it's so much fun picking them off. You know, you could watch it 10 times and not pick up all the little things they put in the first half of the film. So I like a film that kind of rewards repeat viewing or paying attention, and it really does that.
Okay, so there's been some rumours over time. There's a musical in production, I think. Yep. Would you like them to make a remake of Back to the Future, or a sequel even?
Please, God, no. I think it's inevitable, just the way the movies work.
It works, yeah.
There'll be one about his grandson or something travelling back in time, or forward in time. But I really hope it doesn't. It's a perfect movie that was well served by 2 sequels, and I wish they could leave it well enough alone, but I fear they won't.
Yeah. So Chris made I think, a pretty compelling case for Back to the Future being the best movie ever made.
Because it is.
You can check out all the other editors' list of their favourite movies right here on IGN.